Well, hi, everybody. Welcome back to CN Live here on NRATV. I'm Bill Whittle sitting in for Colion Noir. He's going to be back on Wednesday. One of the greatest, absolutely greatest privileges of this job is to get to talk to people who I have had the utmost respect for prior to coming in and sitting in for Colion. Chuck Holton was one of them, and my next guest also somebody I've had enormous respect for quite a long time from Townhall. It's our friend Kurt Schlichter. Kurt, are you there? There he is.
I'm here. How's it going?
It's going great, buddy. It's going great. You know, I'm sure most people know your background, Kurt, but the thing that's unique about you is you have a very strong military background. Needless to say, you served in the armed forces for quite a long time, and yet you're a journalist as well. So when we start talking about some of these national security issues in terms of what's going on behind Washington, you've got a very unique kind of a dual perspective on this. So let's start off with James Comey, who seems to be bouncing around like some kind of popcorn kernel. I don't know what is exactly going on there, but we're hearing reports that that these leaks and the accusations of the Russians and so on is essentially some kind of an FBI coup and so on. Do you think those kind of terms are overblown, Kurt? Do you think things like, shadow government, deep government, coup, slow motion coup are legitimate concerns, or do you think that's just the newspapers trying to get a bigger headline?
Well, I think that we definitely have a problem where we have people who are part of the bureaucratic administrative culture of the United States government have decided to take it on themselves to attack the administration that was elected last November. And I think that's pretty clear what's happening. If you look at the General Flynn transcripts, that was leaked. Mm-hmm. There's no debate about me a lot as the president says, hey, you were wiretapping people. Says, wiretaps reveal what Flynn says, and then the New York Times kind of like hand waves it away. What wiretapping? But Flynn's bad. But what wiretapping? It's kind of weird. I think what we got today, what seems to me we got today, is there was an FBI investigation of some of the people around Trump. Okay, we kind of knew that. It's probably Roger Stone, and there was.
You with us?
Oh, I'm here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think they're just running some video over us. What were you saying about Roger Stone?
Well, I think that's probably the guy that they're actually looking at, according to reports. I don't know.
Nobody knows.
I don't think. I think the big takeaway is there's nothing there. We had James Clapper come out and say there's nothing, connecting the president with the Russians. There was nothing today that James Comey said about being connected with the Russians. There's just nothing.
There's no evidence. It's been 6-month investigation, no evidence.
Well, and do you think for a second that if there was evidence, it wouldn't have leaked out?
Of course. Of course. I'm wondering if you think politically this is blowing up in the Democrats' face only for this reason. We know that so much of their cultural influence has been the fact that not only do they own the pop culture, they own all of the news media. I mean, it's 98% of the reporters give to liberal causes, something like that. And I think when Hillary Clinton came out 3 or 4 days after her election loss, and basically, very stoically, for the good of the republic and all the rest, said that, there's this epidemic of fake news, which is, to me, just simply this woman's inability to face the fact that she lost the election because people don't like her. So it couldn't have been the fact that the Democrats were wrong, so it had to be because of fake news. But it seems to me, Kurt, that this whole fake news theme is blowing up in their faces because Donald Trump is counterpunching with this, and he's saying, CNN fake news. If they lose their credibility, that's really what they're selling, right? That's a journalist's product, is credibility.
Well, what we've seen, Bill, is a lot of people doing kind of like what you see some militant feminists do. Because remember, this whole thing is a system. If you want to be, the fourth estate, the news, and you want to be respected as guardians of the republic, well, then you got to act like it. You got to be objective, and you can't be partisan. Same with courts. You can't be subjective. You have to be objective. You can't be partisan. You have to obey the rules. But what we've seen is courts not doing that. We've seen the media not doing that. They've simply made themselves other partisans. And while old school Republicans would have treated them, the media and the courts, as if they were still, outside the normal rough and tumble of politics, Donald Trump treats them like what they are, other participants, and they hate that.
And
Hate
they
it.
not only hate, yeah, they not only hate it, Kurt, they don't know what to do with it. They
No,
simply
they
don't
don't.
know what to do when
Yeah,
President
it's like
Trump
they're
swings
shouting,
back
"You
at him.
will respect me. You will respect me." Like the teacher when the kids are going crazy in class, "You will respect me." No one respects a guy yelling.
No, that's exactly right. And I think their spell is broken, and I think it just needed somebody to come out and say so. What about Neil Gorsuch? You know, he's about as good a potential Supreme Court candidate as we could ever wish for. We were at CPAC about a month ago, almost a month ago. Ted Cruz said he will be confirmed. It's still the Democrats' entire policy is to see if they can run out a 4-year clock, right? I mean, that's basically it in a nutshell. You there? Did you hear me?
Having a little trouble hearing you, Bill.
I'm sorry. Let me just say this again. The Neil Gorsuch Supreme Court nomination. Ted Cruz said at CPAC just a few weeks ago that it was going to happen, that Neil Gorsuch was going to be confirmed, but yet we still have some more of this Democrat Party foot dragging. And it seems to me like they're trying to run out a clock that's got 3 years, 9 months, and 22 days on it.
I think they're trying, and I think they're going to fail. Slowly but surely, every day, Donald Trump and his administration do a little more. They fill some more vacancies. They fire a few more Democrats. They slowly grind forward. I think that's how we're winning, 1 inch at a time, not big sweeping movements.
Well, you've been involved with large organizations, the Pentagon, for example, and we tend to think, okay, well, we've got somebody we think really have a lot of respect for. We've got Rex Tillerson at State; he seems like a good guy. Mattis at Defense, unbelievable pick. The second he appointed Mattis, I was saying, worth the election right there. But
Yep.
the inertia that these huge bureaucracies bring, and the ability for people who are nameless and faceless, unelected, to sabotage this process, is it something that can be cleaned out, Kurt? And
Yep.
if so, how long does it take?
Well, it certainly can be cleaned out, and it's going to take a while. It's going to take time. And again, we have to grind out the win. This is a Ulysses S. Grant moment. We're just going to go and trick them. We're
Right.
You know, Donald Trump's not going to come in and suddenly have the loyalty of a bunch of Democratic parasites who are embedded in the bureaucracy. He's going to have to pick them out one by one, every single fight, every single battle, slowly but surely. And I think as he keeps racking up wins, and that's what he's been doing, I think he's going to gain more power, and the left is going to lose power.
Yeah, and they've slowed a little bit of his momentum down, but he's still got so much that he can do. I think if he can get a tax cut through there, then no one will be able to ignore the economic rebound that we're going to see if we can get just a simplification of the tax codes and a reduction. I believe he said yesterday he's going to have the biggest tax cut since Reagan, or bigger than Reagan. And if he does something like that, the economy is going to grow at such a rate that even Democrats are going to have to pay attention, I think.
No, I think you're right. And it's going to be a little different than when Reagan was in office. Now, Reagan was very popular, even though he had a very hostile press. Right now, the press is being seen as partisan by a large number of Americans. And there's an alternative media out there. Heck, we're on it right now, which is going to give people the truth.
That's exactly right. And the truth goes a long way, doesn't it? I mean, if we had to get if all of our information came to us from CNN, we're only now beginning to realize just how unbelievably biased that mainstream media is, only because we are seeing now as it falls apart and dies, we're starting to see just how flagrant this kind of bias is. Kurt, let me ask you to hold on for 1 second. We're going to go to a break, but when we come back, I want to talk to you about something that interests me, interests you, and should interest our members here at NRA, and that is what you mentioned earlier, the rise of these alternative media sites and a way for the signal to get out there that doesn't have to go through Atlanta, Georgia's CNN control room. We'll talk about that right after the break when we come back with our friend Kurt Schlichter from Townhall. I'm Bill Whittle, sitting in for Colion, and this is CN Live on NRATV.